Good morning. How are you doing? My name is Carmen Benton, mindset and energy coach, and I help women stop burnout, stop living in anxiety, stop living in autopilot, and start living intentionally. Today, I have my friend Jojo Caramello here, and we're going to be talking about decluttering your life. And she is a certified life coach and professional organizer with over 20 years of experience helping people transform their life and their surroundings. It's so cute that she says her journey with organizing began in 1977 with Barbie's Dream House. That was so cute. And since then, this has become a natural and long-standing passion of hers that has become decades-long career that bring her joy and fulfillment in so many levels. She basically helps others move from pain and despair into a sustainable, happy life through insightful and supportive methodologies that she has developed that are specific, authentic, and result-oriented. And I love that so much. Welcome to the show, Jojo. How are you doing today?
Thank you. I'm so good. I'm so excited.
Yes, I wanted to talk about this because if my followers, if you've been here for a long time, you know that I say a lot that the way you do one thing is the way you do everything. Mm-hmm. And when people think about decluttering, they might just go straight to like the pile of clothes in the corner or things like that. But there's so many areas in a person's life that could be cluttered with junk. Bad thoughts, bad emotions, piles of clothes, or it's just really a symptom of a bigger thing that needs to be healed. And so I was so excited when we decided to do this because it is definitely some area that I think creates a lot of overwhelm and anxiety in people's life without even knowing. So,
right.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about your approach and what you've seen and what you do with this beautiful area?
Well, to start out with, when you say professional organizer, most people have an immediate thought of what a professional organizer does because you see it on television, magazines, and all that. And for me, some of those aspects are true, but it's hard for me to, I guess, watch a lot of these shows and things like that, because for me, getting organized goes to such a deeper level than the surface. And I like to help people heal, and through their healing, they declutter in physical surroundings, emotional surroundings, spiritual surroundings. And I've never seen that addressed before. So it's been a little challenging for me because I'm kind of a pioneer in this thought as far as what organizing means to me. And so for the longest time, I thought, I'm not doing this right, when actually I think that there are so many missing pieces that are not acknowledged and brought to light. And getting organized in any area of your life can actually be quite a struggle and unsustainable because we haven't dealt with the reason that your thoughts are manifesting in a physical way.
I love that you said that, because as you're saying this, I was getting downloads. And by the way, everybody, Jojo and I got certified through the same methodology. So we're both very intuitive. So you might see how the thoughts might not make complete sense, but it does to us. But I was thinking, about your desk. If you are a professional woman or you are a business owner and you have a desk and your desk is a mess, most likely you have so many thoughts pinpointing in your head, and that is how it gets reflected in your reality. So the messy desk can be a protection mechanism to stop you from taking action. And you are manifesting this just without knowing, okay, I know it doesn't sound intuitive, but I'm going to have a messy desk so I cannot take action. So that's like your protection mechanism.
Right, because that's a form of clutter, and hopefully we'll have time to get into other forms of clutter as well.
Mm-hmm.
But that is a form of clutter, and clutter creates barriers. And something for myself, I need some chaos. I call it organized chaos. And yeah, quite a while back, I was like, well, I'm a professional organizer and my desk is a mess. This this doesn't make sense to me. So I put everything away. I organized my desk and the drawers and everything, and it just looked beautiful. And I forgot to pay bills. I forgot to make phone calls. I forgot to respond to emails. I forgot so much, because for me, I need things that are reminders. Mm-hmm. So if you look at my desk, it's a bit chaotic. I try not to leave it that way at the end of the day, but it's because I'm so incredibly creative that I'm kind of flitting from project to project. But I've been able to hone in on that for myself and know that that's how my brain works. And when it comes to organizing, say someone's desk, I really like to get into their physical dynamics as well as their thinking processes. So that when we organize, it makes sense to the individual.
Yes.
Because all think differently. And my husband, he puts everything away, in drawers and everything, and he remembers everything. If I put it in a drawer, it's gone.
In a safe place. Like, I'm going to put these in a safe place.
Yeah. And then where is it? Yeah.
So many times that happens. Well, it's funny because one of the things I do to remind myself of things, I have Post-its everywhere. Mm-hmm. But the reason it works for me is because they bother me a lot. So my I guess automatic thinking process is I am driven to take them away and trash them. That's my reward dopamine thing of the day.
Good. Yes.
Or when I was in my corner office at my old job, I had this humongous whiteboard, which I missed so much because it was beautiful. And I would write all the things I needed to do. And my motivation was to go erase them. Like, at the end of the day, I wanted to see that whiteboard totally white and clear, right? That was my sense of accomplishment. But I almost created the mess, now the stickies, back then the writing on the wall, as a motivation to get things done.
Yeah. Which is great that you realize that that's what works for you. Mm-hmm. That's what motivates you. And so for each individual to be able to figure that out is actually makes being more organized and being more efficient almost effortless. Because you're in concert with how you operate. Mm-hmm. And you, like you said, you get that rush of accomplishment. And so often in my experiences working in people's homes with, helping them organize, something that I found out that was difficult for me was when the person was, I guess, not motivated enough. And at the end of the day, I felt no sense of accomplishment. And like you're saying, at the end of the day, you're feeling this sense of accomplishment. Right. And I think that is so key in getting organized and being able to maintain that.
So how do you make it fun, rewarding, right? That's probably one of your tricks. Like, how do you make it where it's not a chore, but it's something that makes you feel good and excited about doing it?
Well, first you have to get into why you have this clutter in the first place, in whatever form, whether it's physical, emotional, intellectual, verbal clutter, why you have it in the first place, and getting to the root of that so you have an understanding of it. And then with that understanding, deciding what you want for yourself, what better situations you want for yourself. And then for me, I just make a game out of it. I'm like, ooh, I'm going to go over there for 15 minutes and see what I can do. and I'll actually like play around with it. And I am very energetic and very scattered. And so I'll flit from room to room. Like I'll say, okay, I'm going to work on my desk for a half an hour. And then when the half hour hits, I need to like get up and do something else. And so I feel accomplished at the end. So I make a game out of it for myself. So I think it's like finding a way, like what you did at your previous job. That was like a game for you.
Yeah.
That was fun for you. And you got this rush, you know? So
or you get dopamine, right? You get the dopamine every time you like done.
Yeah. So give yourself time to think of what could actually make this a challenge for me or fun for me, or sometimes it's not fun at first, but like, you know, challenging yourself to,
what I'm getting is that maybe many people set such unrealistic expectations of what the outcome needs to look like that it's impossible for them to win. And I see this in every areas of someone's life. And it's like, well, I'm going to clean my desk, or I'm going to clean my closet, or I'm going to clean the kitchen, whatever it is, right? Or and I want to get into the other types of cluttering, but like, I'm going to clean my life and I'm going to spend whatever amount of time, and it needs to look like this neat thing. And then it's like, I'm going to the gym, but either I have to go every day or I cannot go. I'm going to meditate, but I have to spend 1 hour or I don't do it, right? So we set up these rules around how something needs to look like. And these rules are so unrealistic that we never are able to succeed. But I love what you said, like, let me just do it for 30 minutes. And whatever I can accomplish in 30 minutes or 10 minutes, can I just clean this little area? Or this little area, or, and so lower the expectations, which doesn't mean to lower the bar. What it means is it allows you to actually be successful and feel good about it, which creates the upward cycle of motivation.
Absolutely. And with what you said also, for example, let's pick a closet, right? And it's like, oh, I'm going to clean that closet and all this stuff. And you get motivated and you're into it and it's all good. And then you're getting tired and you're getting hungry and the kids are coming home from school and all this stuff. And then when you're done, you kind of have another mess, or maybe even a bigger mess to deal with.
Yeah.
And then you don't feel a sense of accomplishment. You feel defeated. Why did I bother? The downward stuff happens when what I like to do is tell people, take a period of time that you have, maybe you have 1 hour, and think of a project that is realistic to take care of in an hour and work on that project. And what happens is, since you've allowed yourself enough time, even if it's a section of your closet or something like that, when you're done, you have that sense of you accomplished something. And having that sense makes you want to get that feeling again. So the next project, you have more guidance of how to set yourself up for success. And at the end of it, just go, wow, I did it. This is great.
Yeah, I love that. I really do. So you were talking about the other types of clutter. And I really want to touch upon that because, again, most people think it's just the pile of clothes in the corner, right?
Right.
I think about my teenager's room, you open the door and if you can see the floor, you're lucky.
Yes.
I just close the doors. I don't even want to see them anymore.
Me too.
But what are the other types of clutter that people encounter and they don't even aware of?
So there's physical clutter, which we just talked about. There's emotional clutter, which is the self-talk, the self-doubt, all those things. There's spiritual clutter. It can be from possibly growing up in an environment where there was maybe strict religion or strict rules or something like that, where you have all this, I guess the best way to explain it was I grew up in a house that there was a certain religious way, and it was really, it wasn't a positive thing. And in my soul, I was like, I disagreed with what was around me. but there was so much inside of me that I did believe in what God is like, what the universe is like, what people are really like, that kind of thing. And realizing that trying to adhere to these tenets that I had learned along the lines was in opposition to what I felt in my soul. Mm-hmm. And so then realizing that, I was able to discern and take out the pieces that I learned that were a positive influence and take those and incorporate them with what I felt as well. And I'm very connected to source. And so I developed my own spirituality, if you will, because there were pieces that weren't working for me.
Yeah.
So I still believe a lot of what I learned, but I don't believe or adhere to any of the hurtful stuff or the punishing type of stuff. Yeah.
Right. The rules, the stigma that comes with the way of doing something, or yes, I 100% agree with you.
Yeah. So it's really neat to be able to help people in discovering that for themselves so that they can have a peace around their religious beliefs, their spirituality, whatever resonates for them, that they can really get solid in that and let that be their inner compass.
Mm-hmm. Would you how would you qualify like society's rules, right? Would that be in the spiritual too or the emotional? Because I find that one of the reasons we women carry so much stress and anxiety and overwhelm is because we are trying to comply with all these shoulds and must that have been imposed upon us by generations that maybe they even know what to do, but they come up with this way to do things, and it's heavy, right? That actually just I haven't thought about this until right now talking with you, but it's like that's a heavy load that it almost feels like cluttering.
It actually is. And you said it's a heavy load. That's clutter. Clutter is a heavy load in any form that it shows up. And I think that what you're talking about would be similar to, and I wrote this down earlier, but it's not in my head right now, similar to that, the beliefs that we have. Well, it is about the beliefs that we have. So whether that is emotional, spiritual, intellectual, I mean, there's so many different categories, not a ton of different categories, but a few different categories. Because like you're saying, we are told. So we learn what we're supposed to be, how we're supposed to be, how we're supposed to act, how we're supposed to parent, how we're supposed to do everything. And those are other people's beliefs being put upon us. And then we adopt and adapt to those beliefs. But we have this rub of discontent and frustration and fear and anxiety and self-doubt and all these things. My opinion is that's because your soul is saying, but that's not me.
Right. Absolutely.
In whatever way, shape, or form that you have come to believe at this time.
Yeah, this is my belief when it comes to that, is your higher self, your soul, it's already living the dream life that you always wanted. In fact, every desire that you have is because your higher self, your soul already have experienced that. And so that it comes in the form of a thought or a wish or a want. And the discomfort that you feel is because you are not there. The further away you are from that, which is where you need to be, the more discomfort, the more pain, the more sadness, depression that you have. That's
yeah, I agree with that. And what is that space? It's clutter. Physical, emotional, spiritual. It's all clutter.
Yes.
It's clutter. So yeah, we're here. We want to be there. And it's all clutter in its different form.
So obviously this is not at work. I mean, I know that because I never thought about myself about being a professional organizer. But that's what we do with coaching, right? We help our clients get rid of, the thoughts, the emotions, that are showing up in their reality through their actions and their results. So that in a nutshell is coaching. But and that it's a process that takes time, right? That's what, one session doesn't do it, because you got to create the habit. You have to encounter, the old beliefs and know how to address them and whatnot. But do you have some, I don't know, nuggets that we can share today of how someone can start noticing? Because awareness is the first step of enlightenment. You need to know that.
Right. Right. Well, I do. And I was not a journaler. And I started journaling several months ago, and it has been so transforming for me. So my nuggets would be to, even if you just take a few minutes and just ask yourself, what's not working for me right now? And when you write things down, you actually get a different perspective, because there's different parts of your brain at work. What's not working for me right now? And hone in on that and keep asking yourself good questions. So why isn't this working for me? Well, it's not working for me because. So what is it about that that's not working? And asking yourself and inquiring questions, what that does is it gets the subconscious mind involved. And I honestly believe that every one of us has all the answers that we need in order to live that life. But those answers are within the subconscious mind. And the way I've talked to clients before is, you have all the answers you need. It's just a matter of going into the dark basement where those answers lie. Because sometimes it can be scary. Sometimes it's not. So asking yourself, say your home is a mess, it's cluttered. So what, how do I feel about this? Well, I feel unhappy. Well, why do I feel unhappy? What do I feel? And like you said, you felt heavy, like weighed down and things like that. And ask yourself questions about the different forms of clutter, whether in any form. Ask yourself questions and journal about it. And ask yourself even, okay, so what can I do to start transforming? And again, you're going to get answers. And it could be, start with your vehicle. I love this. I did this years ago. I did a 30-day car care challenge for myself. And my car is always clean, because it's just such a habit now, and it's effortless. So ask yourself, where is an area that I can start this transformation? What's going to help me get kickstarted and feel good about this? And what you can do too is, after you start experiencing areas of declutter, there's energy involved. It's allowing energy to flow. So you may feel uncomfortable because it may be very positive energy, and your clutter has kept positive energy away.
Right.
And journal about that. So why am I feeling anxious now that this clutter is gone? Yeah. And it, because clutter in all of its forms keeps us safe.
And so one of the reasons I know that people who are labeled as hoarders, I don't like the word, but that's how society uses it. The underlying belief that most people that do that have is that there's not enough, right? So I have to keep all these things because there's not enough money. There is not enough of this. So there is a lack mentality, which
yes,
will everywhere in your life.
Yes.
Right. Where I don't save anything. Seriously, I don't save the kids homework stuff, nothing. I don't. I think I go the other stream. but looking down is because, you know, even if we talk about clothes, obviously, you know, I cannot fabricate my kids' first grade homework that I didn't keep. But like when it comes to like clothes or shoes or things like that, it's like, you know, if I need it, I just go buy it, right? And but one of the things that I have learned with practicing different types of decluttering myself is that it highlights impulsive habits, because when you can live, and it's not minimalism, but like when you can live with what you need now, because you don't need to, like, you know, hoarder, then you don't have that impulse to eat or eat, you know. That's another thing that comes with clutter, right?
Yeah,
Like impulse
right.
eating, impulse drinking, impulse shopping, because it's like you feel like you have to keep all these things, right? Like, you know, I see people drinking like alcohol is gonna go out of style. Or you can have a drink tomorrow. You don't have to have 7 drinks today, right? Like it's the same thing.
It is. Yes. Yes. And it all stems from some type of pain or emptiness inside. I had an organizing client quite a few years ago, and she was a hoarder, and there are different levels of hoarding. And she was a hoarder. And in talking to her, she said she shopped a lot, and she was just constantly bringing stuff into her house and cluttering her house and all this. And she said, I'm lonely. And when I'm out shopping, I don't feel lonely. And it was so revealing and also so sad. And my thought is, let's work on what's inside here so that we can clear your clutter, your physical clutter, as well as your emotional clutter, so that you have the time to join a book club, make friends, you know, in a healthy way, as opposed to just trying to, the way people do with alcohol and food and shopping, trying to fill something, and it doesn't ever get filled from those external things.
Yeah, that need of love and connection that's so prevalent in people. And what happened, I mean, you said something, I want to make sure everyone gets it because it's key, that you need to work on the root cause, because you can, you know, clean yourself. You can stop drinking, you can stop eating, like, you know, junk food, you can clean your house. But if you don't address the root cause, you're going to go back to it.
Absolutely. And if you don't address the root, if you don't address the root cause, trying to stay sober, keep your home a certain way, not go shopping, is white knuckling, because you haven't gotten to the root and addressed and healed that. And I had an eating disorder for 22 years. So I get body issues and food issues and all that. And, you know, I had bouts of recovery and relapse many, many years over. But it wasn't until all this was healed that now food is, it just is. And the impulse and the binging, it just doesn't happen because I'm not trying to fix or fill anything.
Right.
So
right. It's like one of the things that I started asking myself a while back, because I, you know, like a lot of people, I got in the habit to numb the stress that I had with my life. You know, 5 o'clock, let me have a glass of wine, right? And then it became, you know, where that was happening like every day. And I'm like, okay, luckily I know how to drink a glass or two and stop, but still it was the every day, you know, 5 o'clock glass of wine. And I'm like, wait a second, am I drinking because I'm trying to numb myself or because I really want the glass of wine?
Yeah.
So, you know, I will stop and ask myself that question. And, or am I bored? You know, I have like nothing else to do, right? Because that happens too. And so it's like, okay, so what is the need that I'm trying to fit? If it's because I am trying to know myself, or no, let me actually get uncomfortable and work on that issue. Journaling, meditating, you know, going out for a walk, grounding myself, all the tools that we have. And I'm sure like me, you teach your clients do. But if it's that I'm trying to, if I'm bored, like, okay, well, let me figure out how to get that connection in another more elevated way, right? Another thing that I used to do for many, many years was work. I will, I am a recovered workaholic. It's a real thing. I was very good at what I did. And so I will do it because I didn't know how to, do other things in my life. Like my relationship were a disaster. Parenting is about the hardest thing I have ever done. But I can sure work, do my job, get promoted, get more money. Like I can count on that, right? So I will like work because what's the thing that make me feel comfortable?
Yeah, I actually, years ago, I had this friend and, well, boyfriend, and we were dating, and he was talking about how all these guys that he worked with would do overtime all the time, and he wouldn't do overtime. And we had a great relationship. And, he would just say, yeah, so-and-so's doing overtime, so-and-so's doing overtime. And I said, that's because they don't want to go home.
Right.
And he looked at me and he knew these guys and knew their home, pieces of their home situations and stuff like that. And it was just like, he went, wow. And actually, when I met my current husband, it was the same way. The employer was like, oh my gosh, he'll work any hours we want and this and that. And he's always here. And I said, that's because he doesn't want to be at home. And he was in a relationship and that ended. And boy, I didn't see it coming for us. But once we started dating, they were like, can you stay? Nope. He did not want to be at work, but like you're saying, that work, you're getting rewards from it. Yep. And you're also being able to have avoidance behavior because you don't want to deal with what's on the other side of the front door,
Yes. And so in case people are wondering, well, what's the problem with that? Well, it creates unhealthy cycles in your life. It's unsustainable to do that. You will end up stressed out, burnt out, with anxiety, sad, depressed, frustrated, all the things you don't want to be. Like, so
right.
It's healthy. Even if it's working right now, eventually it will become a problem.
Right. And to realize that and just observe it and think about, is there something I'm trying to avoid? It could be good, it could be very positive things that you're trying to avoid, love and intimacy. Or for me, it was joy because I was so unhealed in here. I was afraid to experience joy. So yeah, let me be over here and do this because joy's over there and it scares me.
Yeah. Open up your heart, being vulnerable. What are you trying to protect? Yeah. What is your core wound? One of the first things I do when I work with my clients is try to identify that core wound, because that core wound dictates how you do everything. What is that thing that happened when you were between 5 and 10 years old that really, really scar you? And like, oh yeah, that's why you do this, and this is why you do this.
Yeah, so true. Yeah.
Well, Jojo, this has been fantastic. Is there anything else you want to leave our listeners with before we tell them how to find you?
Thinking in terms of I'll just briefly say there's the physical clutter that we surround ourselves with. It keeps us safe. There's the emotional clutter, which are the thoughts and all the stuff of what we don't deserve, and all the subconscious reel that we have going on that tells us we're not good enough. The spiritual clutter, and then let me see if I can find my note. I probably can't because when I'm trying, I can't. So just look around you and think of areas in your life that you're not happy with. And it could even be a spot, it doesn't have to be this big thing. And just think about why that isn't working for you, or even like when it comes to physical clutter, or even other forms of clutter, why it is working for you. And lastly, I was talking to a friend that was telling me about a friend of hers, and she was like, oh, she could use your decluttering, and I was like, I don't put myself, people need to reach out to me, And she said, you know, she said she's divorced and her house is a mess, and you know, she can't date because she can't have anyone over, which is called chaos, the can't have anyone over syndrome. Right.
That's very clever, actually.
Yeah. And so she was saying that you know, her friend can't date because she can't have anyone over because she's embarrassed of her house and all this stuff. And you know, and I said to her, because I do have intuition, and I said, your friend doesn't want to date.
Right.
Dating makes her vulnerable and opens her up to possible pain. So she needs the clutter to keep her safe.
Yes.
Yeah.
I want to, but the house is a disaster and I don't have time to clean it. So I'm not going to.
You want to, but you're afraid to.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Vulnerability is a scary thing sometimes.
It is very scary. Yes.
Yeah.
I know, because I had to deal with that.
Yeah. And it's equally beautiful, if not more.
When you learn all the beautiful things that is, even if there is some pain, it's all worth it.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's really scary. And I get it. And I have had to help beautiful clients go through that. And, you know, that's one of the things we do. It's like, you know, we hold the space for you to explore it and make it beautiful and safe, you know, and just go as slow or fast as you want to go.
Yeah. And I think with what we do it with so much love that it just counteracts any fear, you know. It really makes a difference doing it from a space of love.
Yes. Yes. Oh my God, I've loved this so much, Jojo. So where can people find you?
So I do have a website. It's going to be under construction, but if people want to look at it, they're welcome to look at it. It's jojocaramello.com. And it's my organizing website. And since getting certified in life coaching, which I've actually went to life coaching classes several years ago, so this has been quite an ongoing process for me. I'm transitioning from the professional organizing to the coaching with the professional organizing aspects of all different forms of clutter and decluttering your life in all those different ways. So it's jojocaramello.com, or they can email me at jojocaramello3@gmail.com.
Okay, beautiful. I'll put all those links in the description of the podcast. So if you want to reach out to Jojo, she's a beautiful soul. And I think you have something brilliant going on with how you're mixing these two aspects of your life. And a lot of people can use that. So I'm so excited to see how that goes and continue to collaborate in the future. So thank you so much for being here. And everyone, also, I am going to be dropping my links down below for a complimentary consult where I can help you understand exactly, as I was saying earlier, what are your wounds and how they are affecting your thoughts and the exact steps you need to do to shift that in your life so you can achieve everything you want and burn out and stop living in autopilot. So thank you so much for being here with us today.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. And I'll see you all next week.
All right. Thank you, Carmen. Bye-bye.